Curse of Strahd, episode 10. Oh man, oh man. Okay, so this is one of those sessions that did not go at all how I thought it was going to go. And also one of those sessions I don't have to do any prep for next week because it was all just a bunch of crazy. So we left off right with Lars getting arrested. Ho, ho, baby. And I told the players, I sent them all out a video message, and I said, all right, look, I'm giving you guys a heads up here. They are going to arrest anyone who stops. Anyone who resists or tries to have any sort of they resist them in any way, they're also going to get arrested. You're just going with them, right? And I was like, it's your choice what you want to do. Think about it. Who knows, right? And then the time comes, and I arrest Lars. Lars is like, but what are you talking about? And he tried to deny it, and he tried to play the whole like, oh, but who saw it? Who were the witnesses? And they just said, nah, nice try, and then they arrested him, right? It was a clever move, and I'm sure that he could bring that up, and then we'll see if he wants to go that route. We'll see if he wants to deny, right? Because now, if he denies it, that's going to be a very interesting situation as far as that goes. And that is actually one of the triggers of a bad situation that happens if he lies about, if he goes the route of, I can't cast magic, no, for real, then there's going to be a zone of truth type situation that come out and all of that. But if he just goes along with it and then plays into the burgomaster's wants and some other things, then we'll see how that goes. So anyway, in general, how I always do this is I say what I thought was going to happen and then what actually happened. What I thought was going to happen is I thought that Lou, the barbarian of the group, was going to resist in some way. I actually met up with Lou outside in the real life. My wife we're all friends, or she's one of my wife's friends, and we had a birthday situation over the weekend. And I talked to her. I was like, hey, I don't know. Like, she's like, I think I'm gonna just hit one of the guards with a hammer. I was like, oh man, wow, okay. So I had this whole thing prepared about what would happen if Lou did that, and then she ended up not doing that. So I was like, okay. And then so I thought that was going to happen. Didn't happen. And then I had two different things going on. I had inside the prison and an outside the prison situation happening, right? We're going to see how, I was just going to see how those go. And one of my goals was to go back and forth and just see how they go. Keep everybody engaged as well to see how that whole thing goes. But then the party split up. So then now I have a split party that also, I have 5 players. I have a split party, and then this party split as well. So it was a little bit of a juggle session. But here we go. This is what it looks like. The arrest, the guards bust down the door, and then they had a talk with the bartender, or not the bartender, the owner of the establishment of the Blue Water Inn, who, spoiler alert, is the leader of the Ravens. Or at least in this little section of them, he is. He is the leader of the Were Ravens. They are a group of Were Ravens that are run and own this bar. They're like the spies of the town, and they got a lot of information. And this was a great opportunity that I wanted to insert them and give a little bit of a reveal where they think and they are worried about Lars, because Lars has a connection with Strahd, and that was revealed in front of the hags, which also had the ravens there. So there's a point in the time where they had this big huge fight, and then Lars had to agree to accept a pact with Strahd to get them out of that hot water of the hags. And then Strahd, he's now technically a warlock patron pact situation with Lars, and the Ravens kind of are onto that whole. They're onto him. So they had a little bit of a debate back and forth about this whole situation, and it was the group of the players that did not get arrested, and Erwin Mordakov, leader of the Were Ravens, and that was kind of an interesting little bit of a lore situation, secret enemy, and then and so this is how I had it organized: innocent arrested, the innocent people arrest, and what happens with them, and then the guilty arrest and what happens with them. And I went back and forth as far as who's doing what, right? And then I had the meeting with the Baron, and Lars was going to meet with the Baron. And then this is how that's going to go. That has not happened yet. And this is Louisa meeting with the Baron, but then Louisa never made the attack against the guards. So what I did on the fly here, there was a little bit of a lateral move. Instead of having the Baron meet with Lars first, I had a little bit of an interesting moment where how things were panning out. I was like, okay, there's the group on the outside, and then there's Lars. I tried to orchestrate the timelines to where the group was going to go talk to the Baron and see how well that they could go. Because there's like 5 different levels I have in my head right now of how bad his sentencing can be. And right now he's right here. He can make it worse, he can make it better, right? So the group had a talk with the Baron, and they actually got a natural 20 on a persuasion situation and another natural 20 on another talking situation. Oh my gosh, it was great. They killed the meeting with the Baron. They did great. And then now they're in the best possible situation that they have, and then I swing it over to Lars. And this whole time in the back and forth, because I'm going back and forth between the players, every time I went over back to Lars, there was another little interesting character that he met in the prison that was trying to plan an escape. They're trying to plan an escape. The escape's going down tonight. The escape's going down tonight. And then I timed it out to where the escape moment happened right after they had the meeting with the Baron, almost at the same time technically. So as they're having a meeting with the Baron, the escape's going on, right? So they had this great meeting, and then the Baron comes over, and if Lars isn't there and he escaped, then the whole thing just goes out the window, right? So it was really interesting to see if I was basically testing Lars. Are you going to escape? And then I had this whole prison break scene go out, and then he joins in the escape, and then he gets out and casts invisibility on himself, runs around, finds a door, gets out of there, and he is out. I made sure it wasn't necessarily too difficult to get out. I mean, shoot, it's in the middle of a prison break. He can cast invisibility on himself. I mean, that's good enough for me, you know, and I wanted to see if he dove into that technically bad choice, you know, of being free. If that's the way you want to go for it, go for it. So he escaped, he got out, he met back up with everybody, and they all met up and were talking. And as they met up and talked, they're all like, this is bad, though. Like, the Baron was probably going to pardon you or let you go. Like, it's all kind of misunderstandings. You just said Strahd's name, and you just cast magic, but you cleaned somebody, so it's really not that big a deal. And then you lied about not being able to cast magic, so that's kind of bad. So it's really, I think you're fine. And he's like, shit. And he's like, well, now they're going to add on escaping from prison onto your resume, which is going to make you look real bad. He's like, I leave. And so Lars then, invisible, runs back to the prison to try and break back into the prison, invisible, to try and get back into a cell and get back in there before they realize he's gone. So we made a whole series of rolls to see how it went and how all that stuff played out. And long story short, he ran back in, invisible, got back into the room, got a key, got a distraction from another inmate. Wasn't able to get. He actually used the key on some handcuffs instead of on his cell door. So he gets in there, he slides into another person's cell, and he's in the back, and he just role plays like, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. And the guards find him in this crying, whimpering mess. And they're like, oh, no, Lars is here. Yeah, we thought he was missing, but I think he peed himself in the corner over here. And he got back in, broke himself back into the prison to then still be in prison after escaping prison with no one knowing that he did. So super great. That was the whole session. It was just like loop around whole deal. But it was really cool to see the social. This was a social episode for sure, of the social between the Were-Ravens, the Martikovs, and the group that stayed there to see what kind of things they could get from each other and learn from each other. Lars and the prisoners and the whole prison break scenario, and then escaping, and then rescaping, inscaping. I don't know what you would call putting yourself back into somewhere you escaped from, but that's how that whole thing went down, and it was absolutely crazy. But that was a simple session, and that feels great for me as a dungeon master, because now I get to think about what things happen. I got to think about what things happen from those social situations, what kind of things we might move afterwards, how is that scenario going to look, how much, all I can update everything. But it's a pretty simple update, because not a lot of new pieces happened, a lot of craziness happened, and he's now back in prison, and we'll have that conversation there. But they got to meet the Baron, and they got to do all this really interesting stuff as far as moving things around. But I'm excited for them to be done with this, get the prison thing gone. Hopefully Lars doesn't mess it up in the prison, so that I can not have to have them be exiled or anything crazy like that. I do want them to be in Vallaki. So all Lars has to do is just not lie his ass off and not get caught lying, and he'll be fine. He should be fine, especially because the group just did this whole thing with it. There's going to be a little bit of a slap on the wrist as far as gold that Vasily's going to come in and save the day for, which I want to plant more seeds of Vasily there, and then he's going to have to. He owes the burgomaster a favor that he's going to enact at a later date as well. So all those things are going to be nice little plot nuggets for me, and everything's going to be good. And then we can open up the city to let them truly go and explore the city and do what they want. And hopefully that all happens next session. So stay creative, think outside the box. Peace.